With less than a week away from the trending event, the Snyderverse fandom has been given a boost of hope by the head of DC Studios. Hey everyone, welcome back to our movie news. We are now less than a week away from the trending event that will be asking Netflix to license DC characters to allow Zack Snyder to complete his DC story. And in the past week, the DCU announced its first set of DC films, and during that announcement, DC co-head Peter Safran said something that has caught the eye of Snyderverse fans. "We have the ability to sell outside of HBO Max, if that makes sense," Safran said. "So we'll figure out if there are certain shows coming up that would be better served elsewhere, or if there's not real estate on HBO Max for us. But we like the idea of having shows on Amazon and Hulu and Netflix. It just broadens the DC audience." Now that quote doesn't directly say that they are open to licensing DC characters to Netflix for Snyder to complete his story, and we definitely should not take it as that. The reason why it is interesting is because it means that DC Studios is open to the idea of putting DC shows onto other streaming platforms. They don't see it as competition, but rather an opportunity to broaden their DC audience, which is good news for us, as that is also what us fans who want the Snyderverse to be completed on Netflix have said too. Having DC shows on Netflix can increase their reach and thus build a larger audience. Combine that with the fact that if they moved the Snyderverse over onto Netflix, they'd be making money from a storyline they originally were going to completely ignore, and you've got a pretty decent argument as to why it should happen. The counter argument to that is that they wouldn't want a rival universe going up against Gunn's new universe, but they have 3 rival storylines going on right now called Elseworld stories: Joker 2, The Batman 2, and Constantine 2. So they're open to Elseworld stories. The other counter-argument is that why would Netflix want them? Well, the Snyder Cut was the 4th most streamed movie of 2021, which will definitely be something they want, and they already have a great relationship with Zack Snyder. The final counter is that Netflix can't afford it, and it will cost them way too much to license the characters. Probably the most valid counter-argument there is. However, Netflix has proven that if they like a product and have faith in their creatives, they will invest the money into it, and they will get rewards, much like the Knives Out franchise. I wouldn't be surprised if they want to see how well Rebel Moon does in December of this year before committing to anything or even thinking about licensing those characters. Netflix would become the biggest streaming powerhouse by a mile if they execute this correctly. If they could have a rival Star Wars universe with Rebel Moon and their own DC universe with the Snyderverse exclusively on their streaming platform, they will have an even larger pool for subscribers. So if you look at all the information, DC wants to sell DC projects to Netflix. Netflix would be foolish to not want to take them up on that deal, and they already have a great relationship with Zack Snyder. So if the conversation happens between DC and Netflix, the conversation could head towards the Snyderverse too. And I can already predict that there will be comments saying it's not going to happen and we should move on, and probably comments even worse than that. We had those comments about the Snyder Cut, and look what happened. Sure, it might not happen, but there's no harm in trying. So if you want to try, there is a trending event next week, on February 14th. Now I know that day is Valentine's Day and is pretty inconvenient for a lot of people, including myself. However, the reason why fans chose that date was because in America, they put the dates as 2nd month and then 14th day. In other words, 214. And if you don't know, 214 minutes was the original runtime of the Snyder Cut, so it is a pretty special number for the fandom. Personally, I wish it was another day, but it's too soon to change it. I will be busy that day, so I will have to schedule some tweets to release at the correct time, but I won't be active on the actual day. But if you can make it, then make sure to be loud and positive, to make sure DC and Netflix hear the demand. It may seem unrealistic unrealistic to some, but it's something that I want to see happen, and there are very good reasons as to why it should happen. And we have our voices, so we might as well use them. The main thing is to be positive and focus on showing Netflix the demand. So if you want to see Superman take on Darkseid and all the other potential stories that can be told, let Netflix and DC Studios know that. But that is all for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. Please make sure to like and subscribe and turn on post notifications so you never miss a video. I hope to see you here again soon, so until then, have a great day. Bye!